All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into the mind of Warren Buffett
Right?
to learn how he values businesses.
Okay.
We've got a fantastic source for this one.
Yeah.
A Q&A with Buffett and his partner Charlie Munger at a Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting.
Yes.
Get ready to learn their surprisingly straightforward approach to investing directly from the masters.
These meetings are famous for a reason.
Yeah.
You've got investors that flock from all over to hear Buffett and Munger's insights.
Right.
What's fascinating is how they strip away all that Wall Street jargon
Yeah.
and just focus on the core principles.
And that's precisely where we'll begin.
Okay.
Buffett constantly emphasizes
Yeah.
understanding the business you're investing in.
Yeah.
He uses this great analogy
Right.
of looking at businesses in your own town.
Yeah.
It makes you think,
Yeah.
which ones would you actually want to buy?
Uh-huh.
Which ones do you genuinely understand? And thinking long term, which ones will still be around in a decade or two?
It's about spotting those companies with serious staying power.
I've always struggled with feeling like I need to be an expert on every industry to invest.
Well, Buffett would say that's completely unnecessary.
Oh, really?
He believes in staying within your circle of competence.
Okay.
It's better to know a few businesses inside and out
Uh-huh.
than to dabble in many you don't truly grasp.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's about focusing on companies you'd feel comfortable betting your own money on
Right.
because you understand their fundamentals.
Exactly.
Speaking of bets,
Okay.
another core principle of Buffett's is the margin of safety.
Absolutely.
So tell me about this.
It's all about buying businesses at a discount,
Okay.
getting more value than what you paid.
Right.
It's like having a built-in cushion.
Okay.
Imagine you estimate a company's worth $100 per share, but you snag it for $70.
Okay.
That $30 difference,
Yeah.
that's your margin of safety.
So even if things don't go perfectly, you've got that buffer.
Exactly.
I read about Buffett applying this when he invested in Korean stocks.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't an expert on specific Korean companies,
Right.
but he saw a whole bunch of them trading at a discount.
Exactly. He knew that even if some of those companies underperformed,
Right.
the overall discount gave him a margin of safety.
I see.
It highlights
Yeah.
that you don't need to find the perfect business,
Okay.
just a good one at a great price.
So this reminds me of something else they both emphasize,
Look at.
continuous learning.
Yeah.
Munger has this fantastic quote,
Okay.
get up each morning and try and go to bed that night a little wiser.
Love that.
But how does that apply to investing?
Well, the business world is constantly evolving.
Right.
What worked yesterday
Yeah.
might not work tomorrow.
Okay.
Successful investors need to be lifelong learners,
Okay.
adapting to new information and trends.
Right.
Remember, Buffett bought those Korean stocks without being an expert on every single company,
Yeah.
but he was a student of the market
Yeah.
and saw an opportunity.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
So you need to stay curious and be open to new ideas,
absolutely.
especially when market conditions change.
Yeah.
Speaking of changing conditions,
Uh-huh.
Buffett and Munger always talk about the importance of temperament in investing.
Mhm.
I have to admit, patience isn't my strong suit.
Well, temperament is crucial.
Yeah.
It's about having the discipline to stick to your strategy, even when the market gets volatile, or you're tempted to make impulsive decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Buffett and Munger have seen countless investors make emotional decisions that hurt their portfolios.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
So it's not just about being smart.
right.
It's about managing your emotions and not getting swept up in market hype.
Exactly.
I remember Munger telling a story
Okay.
about a man who made a good living in a rather unusual way,
How so?
gathering dead horses.
Yes.
The dead horse business.
The dead horse business.
Munger's point was that the man had practically zero competition,
Right.
which made it quite profitable.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most lucrative businesses
Yeah.
are the ones no one else wants to touch.
I like that.
So it's about seeing value where others don't and
Mhm.
having the patience to let things play out,
Right.
even if it's not the most glamorous opportunity.
Exactly.
This reminds me of another example Buffett and Munger often cite,
Okay.
the story of Pete Kiewit,
Oh, yeah.
a businessman they both admired.
They saw Kiewit as a model of long-term success.
What made him stand out?
Kiewit was known for his work ethic,
Okay.
attention to detail,
Uh-huh.
and commitment to doing things right.
Right.
He built his success on integrity and discipline,
I see.
what Buffett and Munger call the Kiewit traits.
Okay.
They believe these qualities are essential for success, not just in investing, but in any field.
So building a solid reputation
Yeah.
and consistently delivering on your promises are valuable no matter what you're doing.
Right.
It's not about shortcuts.
It's about building something sustainable.
That's a great point.
This whole idea of long-term thinking
Yeah.
leads perfectly into another insight from Buffett and Munger.
What's that?
Businesses with low capital requirements.
Now, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
These are businesses that don't need a ton of money to operate and grow,
Right.
allowing them to generate high returns.
Okay.
Think about magazines,
Okay.
especially ones like People magazine that operate on subscriptions.
So they get paid up front
Exactly.
before even delivering the product.
It's like operating on negative capital.
That's a brain.
Another example is See's Candies.
Okay.
They have incredibly loyal customers and a strong brand,
Right.
allowing them to rake in profits without constantly needing to invest in new factories or equipment.
It's incredible how simple yet powerful those concepts are.
Right.
It's not about having the most complex technology. It's about finding a model that works.
Right. And remember, they even mention Apple as a low capital requirement business.
But they have those huge factories and research labs.
Right. But their core business model is built on intellectual property,
Okay.
software design branding.
Okay.
The physical products are just a small part of their overall value creation.
I see.
They generate massive profits from their ideas, not necessarily from huge capital investments.
And that leads us to another fascinating area.
What's that?
Businesses with strong pricing power.
Pricing power.
So the ability to raise prices without losing customers.
You got it.
Is that what they're getting at?
It's often a sign of a monopoly or near a monopoly.
Okay.
However, they were hesitant to name specific examples,
Right.
probably to avoid any antitrust concerns.
I see.
But they did leave us with a great question.
What's that?
What businesses today might have strong pricing power that isn't immediately obvious?
It's a great question to ponder.
Right.
It makes you look beyond the surface and think critically about how industries function.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to analyze every business I interact with.
It's fun exercise. It really is.
It really highlights how businesses operate and compete in the real world.
This is all so insightful.
Yeah.
It's clear that Buffett and Munger's approach goes way beyond picking stocks.
Right.
It's a framework for thinking about business and success in general.
Absolutely.
But we're just getting started.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment to uncover even more wisdom from these investing giants.
Sounds good.
You know what strikes me about Buffett and Munger
Mm-hmm.
is how they connect seemingly unrelated ideas.
Right.
They weave together insights from history, psychology, business, even their personal lives, to form this incredible tapestry of wisdom.
They're always drawing parallels.
Yeah.
Finding patterns that others miss.
Right.
One of the most striking things about their thinking
Yeah.
is their focus on simplicity.
It's like Einstein said.
Okay.
If you can't explain it simply,
Yeah.
you don't understand it well enough.
Exactly. Buffett and Munger are masters of simplification.
Right.
They take these complex ideas, break them down to their core,
Yeah.
and make them understandable for everyone.
They cut through all the noise and jargon to get to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
And this ties into another key lesson.
What's that?
The importance of focus.
Focus.
In a world overflowing with distractions,
Yeah.
focusing on what truly matters is a superpower.
Think of them like marathon runners,
Okay.
blocking out everything except the finish line.
Right.
They've demonstrated that focus throughout their careers,
Mm-hmm.
sticking to their principles, even when the market was screaming at them to do something different.
It's remarkable. They have
Yeah.
this long-term vision
Yeah.
and an incredible amount of discipline to stay the course.
Yeah.
Their approach to investing really reflects their values. Patience, discipline, long-term thinking.
Right.
It's not about chasing quick wins.
No.
It's about building something that lasts.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to temperament.
Temperament.
They understand that investing is as much about psychology as it is about finance.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's about controlling your impulses,
Uh-huh.
resisting the urge to jump on the latest hot stock,
Right. Yeah.
and managing your emotions.
Yeah.
Fear and greed can derail even the most brilliant investors.
It's like they've mastered emotional intelligence in the financial world. And that's a skill that goes way beyond investing.
It applies to all aspects of life.
Right.
It's about being self-aware,
Yeah.
understanding your strengths and weaknesses,
Okay.
and making decisions that align with your long-term goals.
So it's about staying calm and rational,
Yes.
even when everything around you feels chaotic.
Exactly.
What I find truly admirable is their humility.
Humility.
They readily admit when they've made mistakes and learn from them.
They're not driven by ego or the need to be right all the time.
Right.
They're focused on long-term success,
Uh-huh.
which means constantly seeking out new knowledge and perspectives.
They embody that lifelong learner mentality.
Yeah.
They aren't afraid to challenge their own assumptions or question conventional wisdom.
That's what sets them apart.
Right.
They're not tied to any dogma.
Yeah.
They're driven by this insatiable curiosity and a desire for understanding.
It's pretty incredible how these guys
Yep.
who are at the top of the financial world
Right.
have stayed so grounded.
They haven't let success go to their heads.
Right.
They live relatively simply
Uh-huh.
and prioritize the things that truly matter to them.
It's a powerful lesson.
It is.
True success isn't about the money or the fame.
No.
It's about living a life of purpose and meaning.
Exactly.
It's about making a positive impact
Yeah.
and leaving a legacy you're proud of. And Buffett and Munger have certainly done that.
They have?
They've built successful businesses,
Right.
shared their wisdom with generations of investors,
Yeah.
and inspired countless people to rethink their approach to business investing and life itself.
Their emphasis on ethics and integrity is something I find particularly noteworthy.
Absolutely.
They believe that success without integrity is meaningless.
Right.
They've built their reputations on honesty, fairness, and transparency, holding themselves and those around them to the highest ethical standards.
It's refreshing to see business leaders prioritize values over profits.
It is.
They understand that trust is the foundation of long-term success,
Yeah.
and trust is built on ethical behavior.
They've shown the world that you can be both successful and ethical.
And that's a powerful message.
It is.
It's interesting how they view their role as investors.
Oh, yeah. How so?
They see themselves as stewards of capital,
Okay.
responsible for allocating it wisely and responsibly.
They're not just chasing returns.
Right.
They're looking for investments that create value for society.
So they're investing in businesses that solve problems,
Yes.
create jobs, and make the world a better place.
Exactly. And they're doing it with that long-term perspective,
Right.
considering the impact their investments will have for generations to come.
It's a stark contrast to the short-term thinking that dominates so much of the financial world.
They're playing a different game altogether.
Right.
A game measured in decades, not quarters.
Yeah.
And their success speaks volumes about the power of that long-term approach.
We've covered so much ground today,
We have.
but I feel like we've only scratched the surface of Buffett and Munger's wisdom.
There's always more to learn from these two investing legends.
They've given us a treasure trove of insights and lessons that we can apply to our own lives,
Absolutely.
whether we're investors, entrepreneurs, or simply striving for a more fulfilling life.
Right.
Their story reminds us that success is a journey, not a destination.
It's about continuous learning, adapting to change,
Right.
and striving to be a little wiser each day.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to stick to your principles,
Right.
even when the world is urging you to do otherwise.
This has been an incredibly enlightening deep dive,
It has.
but we're not quite done yet.
Okay.
Stay tuned because we'll be back in just a moment to wrap up this deep dive and leave you with a final thought-provoking insight. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from understanding businesses and finding that margin of safety
Right.
to the power of temperament and the value of continuous learning.
Mm-hmm.
We even explored low capital requirements and pricing power.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
What's the biggest takeaway for you from all of this?
You know what's fascinating to me is how Buffett and Munger's approach,
Yeah.
it goes beyond simply picking stocks.
Right.
It's really a framework for thinking about business and achieving success in any field.
I agree.
Their wisdom,
Yeah.
it isn't limited to just finance.
That's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
So many of their principles
Yeah.
align with those timeless values.
Absolutely.
Integrity, hard work, discipline,
Yeah.
patience, and a thirst for knowledge.
Exactly. When you kind of zoom out and look at the big picture,
Uh-huh.
their investment philosophy
Yeah.
really is an extension of their personal philosophy.
Right.
They invest in companies that mirror their values.
So for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
here's the big question to ponder.
Okay.
How can you apply these principles to your own life,
That's it.
even outside of investing?
It's a fantastic question.
Whether you're choosing a career, building a business, or simply navigating daily life,
Right.
the wisdom of Buffett and Munger can be